Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right? Going to work, working hard, following the rules, but still feel trapped? Like you're stuck in a game you never agreed to play? A subtle, creeping unease that something is wrong, that the life you're living isn't entirely your own. This is the first crack in the facade, an invitation to look closer, to awaken. We are taught to cherish our freedom. The freedom to choose our career, to choose what we buy, to choose who we vote for. On the surface, our lives seem to be a long series of personal decisions. We choose between a latte and a cappuccino, between Netflix and Amazon Prime, between one political party and another. The system presents us with an endless buffet of options, making us feel powerful and in control of our own destiny. This feeling of control is crucial. It keeps us content. It keeps us compliant. It makes us believe that the life we have is a direct result of the choices we have made. But what if these choices are not as meaningful as they appear? What if they are merely variations of the same pre-approved path? You can choose any job you like, as long as it is a job that fits within the existing economic structure, one that likely demands 40 hours a week for 40 years of your life. You can buy any product you desire, as long as you have the money, which you earn from that job. You can consume any media you wish, but most of it is owned by a handful of corporations, all pushing similar narratives and values. The choices are real, but the framework in which we make them is rigid and narrow. Think of it like a maze. Inside the maze, you can turn left or right. You can go forward or you can turn back. You have the freedom to navigate the paths as you see fit. But you can never choose to leave the maze itself. The walls are too high and most people don't even realize they are walls. They have been inside the maze for so long that they believe it is the entire world. The illusion of choice keeps us busy navigating the corridors, arguing over the best route, never questioning the design of the maze or who built it in the first place. This is the genius of the deception. The truth is, our most significant life choices are often made for us before we are even old enough to understand them. The system has already decided what a successful life looks like. It involves a certain type of education, followed by a stable career, home ownership, consumption and retirement. We are offered slight variations on this theme, but the fundamental script remains the same. The freedom we are given is the freedom to choose the color of our cage, not the freedom to fly out of it. And for the system to work, it is essential that we never realize we are in a cage at all. In the rush of modern life, we rarely stop to ask why we do what we do. We accept the world as it is, following routines and expectations without question. But what if we dared to ask, is this the only way to live? The first step is to be still and to ask why. In school, we learn to sit in rows, follow the bell, and surrender our rhythms to a schedule. The classroom is our first box, teaching us to compartmentalize, to obey, and to fit into a system designed for order, not curiosity. We absorb these rules as natural, shaping how we see the world. From our earliest days, grades become the currency of compliance. We chase A's, fear F's, and learn to perform for approval, not for curiosity. The system rewards conformity, punishes mistakes, and teaches us to compete, not collaborate. In the end, we forget to learn for the joy of learning. Every child is born a natural scientist and artist, a relentless questioner. But in the classroom, curiosity is often seen as a disruption. The rigid curriculum leaves little room for wonder. Over time, children learn to be quiet, to accept, and to stop asking. The flame of curiosity dims, replaced by passive acceptance. The school day is a rehearsal for the workday. We wake to alarms, follow routines, and spend our time in institutions, learning to complete tasks and defer gratification. This prepares us for the 9-to-5 grind, blurring the line between work and life. The system delivers workers ready for the treadmill. By the time we leave the education system, we are handed a blueprint. It is not a blueprint we designed. It is a standard issue model for a so-called successful life. The instructions are clear. Go to university, accumulate debt, get a stable job, get a mortgage, work for 40 years, and then, finally, at the end of it all, you will be granted a few years of freedom called retirement. This path is presented to us not as one option among many, but as the option. It is the default setting for a modern life. The pressure to follow this blueprint comes from all directions, from our teachers, our parents, and the broader culture. The deception lies in the fact that we are led to believe we are choosing this path freely. The system is clever. It gives us the illusion of choice within the blueprint. We can choose to be a lawyer or an engineer. We can choose to live in this city or that one. We can choose this mortgage plan over another. These choices make us feel in control, masking the reality that we are still operating within a very narrow, predefined framework. We are so busy choosing the color of the rooms that we never question the design of the house itself. We never stop to ask if we even want to live in this house in the first place. This blueprint is profoundly limiting. It prioritizes economic productivity and material security above all else. It leaves little room for passion, adventure, creativity, or deep self-discovery. The artist, the traveler, the philosopher, the person who wants to live a simple life close to nature. These paths are not on the blueprint. They are seen as risky, irresponsible, or naive. The system subtly devalues any life that cannot be easily measured in terms of income and status. It creates a hierarchy of acceptable dreams, and most of us, having been conditioned for years to seek approval, obediently choose a dream from the top of the list. And so, the education system completes its primary, unspoken function. It is not just about imparting knowledge, it is about implanting a script. It hands us a map for a territory that has already been charted by others. It teaches us the language, the rules, and the values of the system so that we can navigate it effectively. It prepares us to play a role in a grand play that we did not write, direct, or produce. We step out into the world, blueprint in hand, ready to build a life that looks successful from the outside, but one that was never truly, deeply our own. Online therapy, a tool I wish more people knew about. In a world where we're conditioned to be passive consumers, this actually helps you take back control. Whether it's your time, your mental clarity, or your income, it gives you leverage. There's a link in the description with a special 20% discount just for viewers of this video. When we leave school, we enter a world where media becomes our constant teacher, always on, always present. It speaks from every screen, shaping our reality, desires, and fears. This constant murmur is the air we breathe, the water we swim in. Day after day, it quietly molds our beliefs and values. The storyteller is always there, subtle, persistent, and ever-present. The news promises to keep us informed, but what we receive is a carefully crafted narrative. Headlines focus on crisis, fear, and division, leaving us anxious and overwhelmed. Our knowledge becomes a mile wide and an inch deep, while the most important stories are rarely told. This is the illusion of being informed. The media manufactures desire, teaching us what to want. Through movies, ads, and influencers, we're shown a vision of happiness defined by what we buy. Advertising sells not just products, but feelings, making us believe fulfillment comes from consumption. In reality, we're following a script designed to keep us wanting more. I want to ask you something directly. Do you ever feel like everything you're doing, the job, the scrolling, the routine, was never really your choice? That it was quietly decided for you before you even knew how to ask why? Let me know in the comments. I'm reading all of them. In the modern era, the storyteller has found its most powerful and addictive medium yet, social media. It is a digital pacifier for the masses. It is designed from the ground up to capture and hold our attention for as long as possible. The endless scroll, the like button, the notifications, these are not neutral features. They are tools of behavioral engineering, crafted by psychologists to trigger dopamine releases in our brain, creating a cycle of reward and craving that is difficult to break. Every moment of potential boredom, solitude, or deep thought can now be instantly filled with a quick hit of digital stimulation. The pacifier is always within reach. This constant distraction serves the system perfectly. It keeps our minds occupied with the trivial and the immediate. We spend hours scrolling through curated images of other people's lives, engaging in shallow online debates, and consuming bite-sized, algorithmically selected content. This leaves little time or mental energy for sustained critical thinking about our own lives or the society we live in. The pacifier soothes our unease. It numbs the quiet desperation we might otherwise feel. It prevents us from confronting the deeper questions about meaning, purpose, and freedom. Why sit with uncomfortable thoughts when you can just scroll them away? Social media also warps our sense of self and our relationships with others. We are encouraged to become performers, to build a personal brand, and to present a carefully curated version of ourselves to the world. Our lives become a product to be marketed, our value is measured in followers, likes, and shares. This turns us inward, making us obsessed with our own image and how we are perceived by others. At the same time, it degrades our real-world connections. We substitute deep, nuanced, face-to-face interaction with shallow, text-based exchanges and the passive observation of others' lives. We become more connected than ever, yet feel more isolated and alone. The ultimate function of the digital pacifier is to keep us docile and distracted. While we are busy arguing about memes, envying influencers, and chasing virtual approval, the real world continues to turn, and the real systems of power continue their work uninterrupted. The pacifier keeps the baby quiet in the crib. It prevents us from crying out, from questioning our confinement, from demanding something more. It is perhaps the most brilliant tool of control yet devised, because we have willingly, even eagerly, placed it in our own mouths. We have chosen our own distraction, and in doing so, we have surrendered our most precious resource, our attention. If this video has already made you question even one thing about your daily life, hit subscribe. That small click tells the algorithm to show you more of what actually matters, instead of what it thinks you should care about. The modern media landscape, powered by sophisticated algorithms, has created a new and dangerous phenomenon, the echo chamber. The system has learned that the best way to keep us engaged is to show us more of what we already like and believe. The news feeds we scroll, the videos recommended to us, and the search results we see are all personalized. They are tailored to reflect and reinforce our existing biases. If we lean to the left, we are fed a constant diet of left-leaning content. If we lean to the right, we see only right-leaning perspectives. We are slowly sealed inside a bubble of our own opinions, a place where every voice we hear is a reflection of our own. This is profoundly damaging to our ability to think critically. We begin to believe that our perspective is not just one view, but the only correct view. Dissenting opinions are not just different, they are portrayed as ignorant, immoral, or evil. This makes genuine dialogue and compromise impossible. It sorts us into digital tribes, pitted against each other in a perpetual culture war that is amplified and monetized by the platforms themselves. The system profits from our division. While we are busy fighting each other, we fail to notice our common enemy, the very system that is turning us against one another for its own gain. The echo chamber does more than just reinforce our political views, it reinforces the entire script of the Great Deception. The algorithm shows us people who are successfully following the blueprint, getting the job, buying the house, showing off their possessions. It validates the pursuit of these goals. It rarely shows us the people who have chosen to live differently, the ones who have rejected the script. In our personalized media world, the consumerist, career-driven life is presented as the universal norm. This makes it even harder to imagine an alternative. The walls of the maze become invisible because our personalized feed only shows us endless corridors, never an exit. In this way, the media completes its work. It doesn't just tell us a story, it traps us inside it. It creates a personalized reality for each of us, a comfortable prison built from our own biases and desires. It isolates us from differing perspectives, deepens social divisions, and validates the very life script that keeps us compliant and distracted. The quiet storyteller has become a master illusionist, convincing us that the reflection we see in the screen is the entire world and that the echoes we hear are the sound of truth. It is the final layer of conditioning, preparing us for the next act, a lifetime of labor within the machine. After years of conditioning in schools and reinforcement from the media, we enter the 9-to-5 workplace, trading our best hours for a salary. This structure, a relic of the industrial age, is about control, not productivity. The office becomes the new classroom, our attendance monitored, our compliance ensured. Even outside work, the cage lingers, colonizing our minds, shaping our lives. We're taught to see this cage as success, willingly walking in and calling it a career. In today's workplace, we worship at the altar of productivity. Busyness is a badge of honor, a performance we put on to prove our worth. We sacrifice rest, creativity, and well-being, internalizing pressure until we become our own taskmasters, fueling a system that celebrates exhaustion and calls it ambition. In the workplace, we wear a mask called professionalism. We hide our true selves, suppressing quirks and honest opinions to fit a sanitized, corporate-approved mold. This mask is draining, creating a constant conflict between who we are and who we pretend to be. Over time, the line between our authentic self and our professional persona blurs. We trade authenticity for acceptance, forgetting the cost to our soul. One of the most tragic consequences of modern work culture is the systematic theft of our passion. We are often encouraged as young people to follow our passion, but this advice is a cruel joke within the confines of the current system. The reality is that there are very few stable, well-paid jobs that align with what people are genuinely passionate about, such as art, music, philosophy, or community work. The economic machine has a limited need for these things. Instead, it demands an army of administrators, marketers, analysts, and middle managers to perform abstract tasks that keep the cogs of commerce turning. We are forced to choose between our passion and our security. For the vast majority who choose security, the workplace becomes a place where passion goes to die. We take jobs that are practical or sensible, jobs that pay the bills but fail to ignite any real spark within us. We spend our most creative and energetic years performing tasks that feel repetitive, meaningless, and disconnected from any larger purpose. This creates a deep, gnawing sense of emptiness. We feel like we are wasting our lives, trading our precious finite time for a state of comfortable numbness. The system takes our innate human desire to create, to contribute, and to find meaning, and it channels it into the generation of profit for a distant, faceless entity. We try to keep our passions alive as hobbies, relegated to the tired evenings and crowded weekends. But the demanding nature of the 9-to-5 cage often leaves us too exhausted to pursue them with any real energy. The painter's canvas gathers dust in the corner. The guitar sits unplayed in its case. The cult of busyness ensures that our personal projects feel like yet another chore on an endless to-do list. The system slowly saps our creative life force, not through a direct assault, but through a slow, relentless process of attrition. It doesn't forbid our passions, it simply leaves us too drained to pursue them. This is perhaps the most profound theft of all. The system doesn't just take our time, it takes our creative energy, our spark, our very sense of purpose. It convinces us to trade our soul's calling for a steady income and the promise of a comfortable retirement. We are led to believe this is a mature and responsible trade-off. But the truth is, a life devoid of passion is a life half-lived. The machine we power runs on the fuel of our abandoned dreams. It thrives on our quiet resignation, on our acceptance of a world where our work is separate from our heart and our job is separate from our joy. The system dangles a golden carrot, retirement, at the end of a long road. We sacrifice our youth, trading present moments for a promised freedom that may never come. Life is not a dress rehearsal for retirement. By postponing our existence, we become ghosts in our own lives, waiting for a future that may never arrive. Once we're part of the machine of work, the final act unfolds: consumerism. We're taught to seek happiness in things: more clothes, more gadgets, more experiences. The shopping mall becomes our temple, online algorithms our high priests. We work, we buy, we repeat, never questioning the emptiness of this gospel. In a world where our authentic selves are masked by professionalism, the system offers a shortcut: buy your identity. Consumer culture teaches us we are what we own. Brands become our tribes, our possessions, our personality. Identity is assembled from a catalogue of lifestyles, not cultivated from within. But these products can't give us a true sense of self. True identity is forged through experience, belief, and character, not bought. The marketplace offers only a mask, hiding who we truly are. The culture of constant upgrades, keeps us chasing the next new thing. Phones, clothes, cars, never satisfied, always wanting more. The promise of happiness through consumption is a trap. The thrill fades, but the cycle of desire never ends. Debt is sold as freedom, but it's the invisible chain that keeps us working, spending, and trapped in the system. The dream we buy on credit becomes a lifelong burden, turning freedom into servitude. After a lifetime of consuming, we find ourselves surrounded by things but empty inside. True fulfillment can't be bought. Real happiness comes from connection, meaning, and growth, not from the endless pursuit of more. Education, work, media, and consumerism form a seamless loop, shaping our desires and keeping us docile. Recognizing this interconnected system is the first spark of awakening, a chance to reclaim our lives. The first step to freedom is seeing the system for what it is. Questioning, noticing, and reclaiming your choices. Awareness breaks the illusion. Once you see the cage, you can begin to step outside it. Seeing the system is the first step, but the journey does not end there. The quiet awakening calls for a new kind of action. It is not about fighting the old system, but about building a new one within yourself. It is the slow, deliberate, and sometimes difficult process of choosing real freedom over the illusion of it. This freedom is not about having more options at the shopping mall. It is the freedom to define your own values, to write your own script, and to live a life that is in alignment with your deepest, most authentic self, even if that life looks like a failure by the system's standards. This means making conscious choices. It might mean choosing to earn less money in a job that gives you more time and more meaning. It might mean choosing to own fewer things, to free yourself from the chains of debt and the anxiety of the never-ending upgrade. It could mean choosing to disconnect from the constant noise of the media and social media to create space for your own thoughts to emerge. It is about choosing deep connection with a few people over the shallow validation of the crowd. Each of these choices is a small act of rebellion, a vote for a different way of being, a declaration that you will no longer power the machine. This path is not easy. It requires courage. It means swimming against the current of social expectation. It means disappointing people who want you to follow the blueprint. It means facing the uncertainty that comes with stepping off the well-trodden path. But the reward is something the system can never offer, a sense of integrity. The feeling of living a life that is truly your own. The deep, quiet satisfaction that comes from knowing you are guided by your own inner compass, not by the dictates of a deceptive and hollow culture. This is the quiet awakening. It is the slow, patient, and beautiful process of reclaiming your own life. The great deception is vast and powerful, but it is not absolute. It relies on our unconscious participation. It crumbles when we withdraw our consent. It begins with you. It begins with the decision to stop, to get quiet, and to listen to the whisper of unease that you have been trying to ignore for so long. Listen to it, honor it, let it be your guide, let it be the start of your own quiet awakening. The world does not need more successful cogs in the machine. It needs more awakened souls, more people who have had the courage to break the script and choose freedom, for real this time. If this resonated with you, like the video, share it with someone who's still asleep, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. And remember, the link in the description gives you 20% off if you're ready to take the next step away from the system.